Welcome, viewers, to our program, Conscious Pleasure. Today, we are going to talk about pleasurable childbirth. It would be great if an expecting mother listening to us who is about to give birth would call us at 416-6192, and we will do a therapy in which we can help her to have a childbirth with pleasure. It is very simple. It's easy to have a pleasurable childbirth. Unfortunately, humanity, due to a stigma, due to an idea, maybe due to the same curse of paradise, that you will give birth in pain, it is assumed as a standard that childbirth has to be painful. And in a research that I did when I was an intern at the Social Security in the year 88, I realized that childbirth could be pleasurable. In fact, when I was doing my rotations, finishing medical school, they used the pentothal, giving the mother intravenous pentothal at the moment of the expulsion to spare her the pain. But I realized, and logic dictates it, that at that moment, when the dilation is already complete, well, really, that's when the anesthesia is needed the least. What happened with that anesthetic, which really wasn't an anesthetic, but rather it was a hypnotic? The patient fell asleep. Later, she did not remember the pain, but really supposedly the pain was there, was that she would often disconnect, and the delivery instead got complicated. I, who already used the scribbling technique, suggested to an expectant mother who was in a lot of pain to start scribbling on a piece of paper to release what she was feeling. And, oh surprise, well, the first thing the person does is throw the pencil away, because what I was asking her was to increase the sensations, that she feel more intensely. One, as an almost defensive mechanism, is trying to inhibit, to block the pain. But when one surrenders to the pain, when one feels it, when one gets into it, and that is what the technique of scribbling on a paper is for, releasing the emotion, then you can achieve that all the tension held at the pelvic level gets released towards the chest, towards the throat, that the woman sobs, that she moans, that she pushes, and that she even ends up panting. Generally, those pantings were very similar to pantings of sexual arousal. In fact, some patients would tell me, "Why am I feeling as if I were with my husband? Why do I feel pleasure?" And the woman feels surprised. She feels almost violated by her body by discovering herself feeling pleasure during childbirth. That is why the woman inhibits all the sensations she is feeling in childbirth, because it seems too strange to her that it could be pleasurable. So what we want today, with today's topic of saying a childbirth with pleasure, is to change the mental framework in which we are trapped, because almost all the disease that humanity suffers from is not even in the body, but rather it is in the interpretation one makes of what one is feeling. And the most obvious case is the childbirth. That's why if any expectant mother feels up to it or is close to starting labor and wants us to, over the phone at 416-6192, induce her, well, give us a call and we'll be helping her out. That way, what I'm saying here does not sound like theory, but rather we can demonstrate it with an expectant mother. Or even another thing, menstruation. That all women talk about the cramp of menstruation and complain that that cramp is painful. Well, it turns out that if the woman dares to feel it, starts scribbling, feeling the sensation, releasing it, the woman can end up feeling pleasure even with a menstrual cramp. It isn't theory. I have achieved it with several of my own patients, and they can end up feeling arousal. That seems strange, it seems absurd, but it stems from this little book called Pleasure or Pain, which was the book I began to write, even from that time when I was an intern at the Bolivariana, that I kept considering and questioning many different aspects of medicine. Because you assume medicine as if the medicine is meant for pain, and end up thinking that all the parts of the body are as associated with an illness. And we doctors end up much sicker than our patients, because any given part of the body that we want to recall, we see a pathological name, a diagnosis, a certain disease there. So the scribbling technique allows a person to feel their own body, to release the emotion, to turn all of that emotion into pleasure. And that was what we did with the mothers, that during the whole internship when I rotated in obstetrics, finishing my medical degree. Some patients, therefore, what they try to do is drop the pencil, but you tell them, no, feel it, immerse yourself more in the sensation. Increase it, and they begin to feel gasping, they begin to feel that the contraction is more intense, and a very interesting thing starts to happen, which is that the woman goes advancing toward a maximum of tension. And at the maximum of tension, the